Okay, first up we have Chen Yu, and yeah, this looks really good. I really like the stitching on the jeans, and the denim fabric is, nice and even looking. That from a distance, the boots just look black, and then when you get close, you can see a leather texture. Although I think it would be better if we saw some kind of, seam, some sense of construction history on the boots to see how they were assembled. Though I really like the wooden soles. I think that turned out great, and I can see that that was some, really careful work done here on the side. Um, and the shirt from a distance again looks just white, but then when you get close to it, you can see that there's actually, a texture on that as well. I think that this skin on the arms and hands maybe could use a little bit of variation, and maybe you want to put a little bit of an indication of the knuckles, maybe some simple wrinkles there. Though I do really like the nails, and the hair also looks really good. It's just a nice clean work there, very well painted on the head. Eyeballs look good too. So lips, even there's a different color inside the nostrils. So yeah, I mean there's a lot of good work on here. I think it's mostly pretty great. I just think maybe a little color variation on the skin, some seams on the boots. Maybe you want to put some pockets on the jeans. But overall, this is, yeah, really good work. Next up is Tia. Okay. And yeah, I think I had mentioned some fixes on the model in the previous modules critique, so you might want to go back and look at that. I think you had said something about maybe doing a whole new model, which is possible. But yeah, there's again, I won't go over that again because it was covered in the last critique. Some of the model fixes, but for example, here I think either you need to attach this seamlessly or you're going to need to build like some kind of collar or something that covers up the base of the neck so we don't see that big seam there. And yeah, I mean it looks like you painted some kind of texture, but it looks sort of like, I don't know what it is, really low res or something. Why is it not displaying the image? It should display the image there. Just gonna delete history off this, Alt Shift D, and then. Oh yeah, no, it's just a solid color. Okay, all right. I thought maybe there was some painted texture, just because I'm seeing something on there, but it's not. It's just a solid color. Yeah, those are all right. I mean, I think that this texture is okay, except I think you want to paint some areas in light and dark and give a sense of like maybe seams or some construction history of how these clothings are built. And again, the boots. Oh, there is a texture here, but it looks just like a solid black color. So, and from what I can tell, it is. So that's. I mean, you could just adjust the color. You don't need to use a texture for that. So overall, I think the first order of business is to fix the model, and then from there, I think you can do more on the textures. But if you're going to stay with this character, I would start by fixing the model first. Next up is Maddie. Okay, yeah, this is looking pretty good. Um, I don't know what's going on with the eyebrows there. Um, if we're missing something there, those look kind of weird. The hair looks pretty good. maybe get a little more contrasty, because from a distance it sort of looks just like a solid kind of beige color. But I could see there's detail there, so you might just want to push up the contrast. I wonder if we could do that with a utility. That might be a kind of an interesting little experiment here. I'm just kind of curious. I'm just going to clear this area and is there like a contrast utility? Color constant? Contrast. Here's the hair texture. Just wonder what would happen if out UV. Oh, that's the place 2D texture. So we just want the out color. And then the contrast, I guess it's already, let's see if it's like 3. Does that do anything? Can't really tell. And let's, before we do that, I just want to be able to see if it looks any difference in here when we do it. Yeah. It also is pushing, bright, saturating the colors a little bit, but I think that's better. Because you can see more of the detail. Maybe too much contrast. Anyway, you can play with it. Or obviously you could just do that in Photoshop, It's just neat that you can do it in Maya too. Anyway, yeah, I think you've got some sort of stretching and stuff going on here. Maybe just, kind of look at that in the way you're painting. Imagine you're painting that in Mudbox. Uh-oh. I think I might have crashed Maya. Oh, okay. Sometimes I wait a little bit to see if it's going to come back, or do Control Shift Escape on Windows. And you can see it's not using any CPU. Yeah, it's not responding. So, and task. And let's fire that up again. Okay, let's open that up again. Set project. We were on Maddie, right? Okay, we're back in here. I might just, then a good sort of precaution is to delete all the history, delete all by type history, and that might help prevent a future crash. I like the sort of stitch things here. I think that's cool. The fabric texture is nice all around. You might want to try different materials, like maybe the straps are leather or something, and maybe like a fawn, a little shiny or something, a little specular on there, just to kind of set them apart from everything else, because right now it's like fabric on fabric on fabric on fabric, and it might be interesting to have more materials. You can paint some color variation on the arms. I do like the fingernails, and I really like the wrinkles you've painted here. I think that's a good example for others in the class. It's subtle, but it's there, and it kind of helps the hands quite a bit. Yeah, there's some subtle painting on the face too. So Yeah, that's all good. It's just I don't know what's up with the eyebrows. Why they look so like the big dots over the eyes. It looks kind of funny. But yeah, overall really good work here. Next up is Hend. Okay. Um, so this, I'm just going to delete all the history off the file. I did delete all by type history. It looks just like a solid color, but there is a thing called top there. But when I looked at this, it just looks like just green. Like you could have just assigned the color green. Like it clearly doesn't look to be any um, variation there. So and then the same goes with the pants. It's just a big black square. So that's not really painting a texture. I've talked, I think, a few times about working on this surface and previous critiques. I think it's here you've got some painting of the texture, but it looks like it's just sort of kind of slapped on there in Photoshop. And I think that this kind of this hard edge here needs to be kind of blended and smoothed. Because right now it looks a little funny, kind of blotchy, almost like a like a skin disorder or something. So I think that needs some work. So yeah, I mean, I don't really consider most of these painted textures. I mean, there is a little bit of painted texture on the face, but that needs some work. And everything else is just a solid color. So I think you could put some more time into this. Um, Next up is Haoyu. Where is your scene file? So that tells me you're probably not working in a project folder. It's very important to work in a project folder and put your scene files in your scenes directory and your texture images in your source images directory. Because right now everything's just sitting, the textures are just sitting on there. And I don't know where your other stuff might be, unless it ended up in... No, that's not going to be it. We already looked in there. Let me just do a quick check in the folder here. Oh, is this it right here? Okay. Didn't see that. So yeah, you need to work in a project directory and put your scene files in the scenes folder and your source images, your textures in the source images directory. Otherwise, so it might not link up the textures. We'll see. Nope, and that means me having to go through each one and try and find it. Yeah, see, it's looking in your D drive. Obviously, that's not going to work, and it's just sitting out there. That's definitely the wrong place to be putting these images. I can try to find that, but I didn't see it in here in that file name. See that everything's I had pants, stuff like that. Let's see. There's that's called TMIG17 JPEG. Those files aren't anywhere in here. So I really can't give you credit for this. And remember, to make a project, file, project window, you make a new project, call it whatever you want, maybe Anim623, browse and put it wherever you think's appropriate on your computer. you know, for example, in your D drive maybe, or in your Maya projects folders, the normal place. And then you accept, then it builds all these folders, and then you put your scene files in the scenes directory and your textures in the source images directory, and then things work much better. So right now I can't give you really any credit for this because the assignment was to do textures, but there's no textures done on here. So does he have UV maps? Just out of curiosity. Yes, but that looks like an automatic map. Then it's just sliced up, so it doesn't look like you properly. Yeah, that's not going to work. So he's not, you haven't done the UV unfolding either, so he's not even ready to be textured. So yeah, you're kind of behind here. All right, and then next up is Cindy. Let's set project. Set and go to scenes. Okay. All right. Love the tattoo. It's very cool, and the little hairs on the arm. That's nice. Some stitching here, which is good. Looks like you put a lot of time in that. And then also here, some stitching on the seam and that leather texture. And then some on the back of the boot there as well. That's all really good stuff. What you might do is try like you said something about a specular map, didn't you? You might try different specularity for different areas of the surface, but I'm really loving the little hairs on the arms and stuff like that, even on the hands, tattoo on the hand. That's cool. Yeah, you're really putting a lot of nice work into all this detail, and that's really great. You've got some good stubble going on, although this maybe blur that edge, because that looks a little weird with those kind of faint strokes there to me. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe that's the style of the thing. I think it should be blurred. I mean, here I kind of feel like you can do that stroke thing and with the little hairs, but somehow that looks weird. And yeah, the blue streaky hair looks cool. I think you've done a really good job texturing this. I think this is good work. Maybe a little bit more, you know, of a texture on the boots, so it's not such a shiny, smooth, kind of plasticky look. Oh, but I do see you have some little kind of indication of some wrinkles here, which is good. So yeah, a lot of nice touches. Clearly, a lot of time spent on this. So yeah, I would say really good work. I think you had some sort of comments on here. Speculative other as a file attachment. Oh. Yeah, so maybe you do want to paint like a specular layer for it if you haven't already. I suppose I could check that in the Maya file, for example. Yeah, there's no map on there. Well, I guess what I'm saying is like if this part, black part, is a different texture than the gray part. And we could sort of cheat it too. Like let's say this is supposed to be, you know, that's all the same surface, right? So you could do something like just map the, well, let's actually do this. You could map the color on the, let's clear all this stuff out and map on the current surface. And then like a really simple thing would be to take the color you have and just put it on the specular color and see what that gives you. Not really seeing that much of a difference. But maybe turn some of this stuff up, or I don't know. Usually that would show up a little bit more. Maybe we put like a directional light in there, we'll be able to see it better. I'm not really seeing it. Okay, not great example. Anyways, yeah, this is working out really well. And then finally we have Hayden, and I just wanted to point some stuff out, some kind of workarounds if you're having problems. Let's open this up first. Whoops. Yeah, make sure your scenes are in your scenes directory and your texture images in your source images directory. Okay. The sweater's looking a little extreme with the kind of black and white thing going on. Oh yeah, this looks like, so you've got Lambert 10 on the hand, and you have Lambert, oh you have Lambert 11 on there, but let's see, somehow you've mapped head.tiff to both of those. So I don't know if you have a separate hand texture. It looks like you don't, but yeah, I would just, assign a new material, right mouse click, assign whatever, Lambert or something, and then maybe pick the color off of here or something like that. And then of course you could paint a texture for it, would be better, but at least you don't have the head stuff repeating. And I like that you've done some color variation here. Looks like you painted a little kind of scar there or something. But I think you got maybe toned down. This just seems a bit, this area and that area seem a little too high contrast. So maybe blend that a little bit better. You could just take your thing into Photoshop, for example, and just blend those a little bit more. I like the kind of frizzy hair here. It looks like you could touch that up. But I was going to say, if things are acting up in Mudbox, like if they're not working right for some reason, like let's say this hand isn't working right, what I can do is I can do File, Export Selection, which is here, Options, and use OBJ Export. If you're not seeing OBJ Export, go to Windows, Setting Preferences, Plotted in Manager, and scroll down to O and make sure OBJ Export is checked here and here. And then I'll do Export and just call this hand. And then go into Mudbox, and you can see I've done this before. And let's import oh, that's not working. Okay. Spring 19. Oh, there it was. Sorry. Okay. So here's my hand, and start painting. And I don't know. Let's just do I'm just doing this as a test to get just the basic functionality running. But let's say we paint some fingernails. Obviously, I'm not putting any real time into this, but just so you see the stuff pass through, and then mouse click and do export selected or export channel merged if there's more than one layer, and use JPEG, and I'll just call this hand texture, and then go back into Maya and let's go into this and map, file, browse, and where's the hand thing I just created? I thought I saved it here. Oh, hand texture right there. Yeah, obviously that's not going to look very good, but you can see, that the image is passing through that way. And so you don't have to do the send to Mudbox and the send to Maya thing, and if that's causing weird problems, you can just do this more manual step-by-step approach, and really it doesn't take that much longer. It's pretty easy. Yeah, keep going on them, get them finished up. There's actually not that much left to do. You've kind of done some of the harder stuff, so just the hands and the feet and socks and stuff like that. Okay.